If you can think of essays in a way that is just not so intimidating, something that's fun, something that's lighthearted, then you are not going to have the same anxiety walking in. There's no reason to look at it as this huge, intimidating composition. You can just look at it as something that's more laid back, kind of like a flushed out outline. That is the best way to look at an essay, a flushed out outline. I'm Terrell, and this is Absolutely Studying, and I want to supply you with all of the resources and support you need to flourish in your academic career. Today, we're covering essays, and if you stay tuned all to the end, you may be in store for a little bonus content. Even when you are reading or writing a blog post, or even one of the latest social media Instagram captions, those are little essays too. Those are just little tidbit, tiny essays that are broken down and easy to digest. Just because I've used the word essay to describe it doesn't mean that it is always something that's incredibly formal. They come in all shapes and sizes, and really at the end of the day, it's all about the composition. If you can write a paragraph and if you can have an opinion, you've got an essay. So let's get to the meat and potatoes. How do you write the world's easiest essay? I'm going to tell you a secret. An essay is just a flushed out outline. Shh. Well, all you have to do is start with an outline. Write what it is that you are trying to prove, and then just in point form, write everything that supports it. If you have to do research, write your research points. If you are doing an opinion piece, or you just don't need research for this particular essay, then just write down all of the tips that you want to make, all of the tips that you want to hit on throughout the essay, and just write them in point form. Just use 15 minutes of brainstorming power and let's just write them out. Write them all out in point form. There's no need to be flashy. There's no need to put it in eloquent, beautiful words. Just quick and dirty. That's all you need. Write out the list of everything you can think of. Take 10, 15, maybe even 20 minutes if it has to be a longer essay, and just write everything you need to say out in point form on your paper. What you're doing here is you're making a roadmap. You are making all of the landmarks of your essay that you can fill in as you go. At this point, you might need to now sort everything out, especially if you're going the brainstorming way. When you go back through your list, go through and arrange everything so that it's in a cohesive, flowing motion, so that it flows cohesively from the first thought all the way down to the final thought. A pro tip here is don't come up with your strongest argument right out the gate. Start with the second strongest, then put all of the weaker ones in between, and then the strongest and those supporting arguments for the last paragraph. What this does is when you start with your second strongest argument, it really lures them in. It pulls them in and makes them think that's a really good point. Now, you might back up that second argument with the weaker arguments, and those still need to reinforce that second strongest argument, but they're going to take home that final paragraph, and that's where you need to put all of the force, flex all of your writing muscle in that last paragraph. So once you've got your outline, what do you do next? You can't just hand in a list of bullet points. What you need to do next is you need to put those bullet points into your own words and make it flow. So flush those out, take a couple of the points or the main point with a couple of its supporting facts, and start grouping them and bulking them up into sentences. So make sure that now at this point, the bullet points or the points that you made are in cohesive sentences. Sometimes when you are mind mapping, or sometimes when you are brainstorming, you just throw things on the paper, and that's awesome. As long as it tells you, the writer, what you are trying to say, it's fine. But now at this point, we want to put it into full sentences. So make each of those points that you've just rearranged into full sentences and then start linking them together. This is going to start bulking up the paragraphs. Very, very important point here. Make sure that if you did have to research for this paper, that you are putting any of that research into your own words. Plagiarism is a huge problem in essays, and sometimes you don't even realize that you're plagiarizing, especially if you don't rewrite the words right away in your own words. If you copy something straight down out of a textbook or a journal, you might forget later on that you wrote it down verbatim. So it's really good to change things as you write them. Sometimes it happens that you write it down word for word, and you just need to make sure that you rephrase when you are bulking it up and changing it into a paragraph. Side note, did you know that if you quote yourself, you still have to rephrase what you said or properly cite it? Because you can get in trouble for plagiarizing your own work. Let me know if you knew that fact in the comments below. I didn't know that fact until I was in university. Not that I had anything to plagiarize at the time. So if you followed my little tutorial here, you should have at least 3 paragraphs, maybe more, depending on how many brilliant ideas you came up in the brainstorming. At this point, all you have to do is summarize the main points out of each of those paragraphs into your introduction and your conclusion. And once you have finished that, you can finally word and place your thesis. The most important part of essay writing is revision. So go over that essay over and over again, read it and tweak it. And that is where you take an essay from done to exceptional. If you want to create an essay with me in real time, from beginning, inception of the thesis and idea, all the way through revision to the final draft, check the link in the description. We have an essay writing course, and you're gonna love it, I'm sure. It's gonna be great regardless of if you are an amateur writing your very first essay or if you are advanced. It's broken down step by step so you can take in what you need and gloss over what you don't until you are ready to write those more advanced essays. You should be getting a suggestion for another great video up here and a study tips playlist down here. And now, cue the bonus content. I'm gonna tell you a secret. Playlist. That is my superpower.